I remember when gas used to be 60, 70 cents, and when it became 80 cents and 90 cents, man, it was starting to get expensive. It's starting to get outrageous. The generation before me remembers a time where you could go into the car lot and look for a brand new 62, 64 Impalas and things like that, and they were like $2,300, somewhere around in that area. Now, if you find one that's rusted out and just the frame of a car in a field, you're going to pay more for that car, like $3,000. You're going to pay more for gas now. I don't have to explain that stuff to you. The prices of stuff have increased significantly over the years. Was that by design or just natural? I thought I'd bring those topics up since gas has to do with cars. Cars is cars, and I'm going to be talking about cars right now, specifically Dodge, maybe Chrysler and 300s, things like that. You know the type of cars that I'm into, or maybe you know one or two, a few cars that I'm interested in. But anyway, what I'm talking about is the inflation of cars. Now, I've watched some of you YouTubers vlogs and things out there, and we talk about Dodges and how this year the prices are starting to increase on, like, significantly on Scat Packs, Hellcats, the special edition cars, jailbreaks, and those things. People are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars on cars, mainly for like Hellcats. Scat Packs, they be cheaper, but the prices are up there. And if you saw some of my previous vlogs, I showed you some of the prices from one of the local car dealers that were here. There's some other car lots that I've seen have significantly marked up prices, $30,000 over MSRP, and that's on Dodge cars, Dodge Chargers, Dodge Challengers, Hellcats, Scat Packs, special edition cars. And they're saying the value's been pushed up and up and up. Now, one of the things I've always said is, like, you have an American car that's made along different levels. Dodge Charger, Dodge Challenger. You got V6s in these cars. You have 2 or 3 models of V8s in these cars. And the top of the line car, you're going to pay $100,000 for. When somebody has a car that looks just like it, and to me that doesn't warrant the value as like what you would pay for a Corvette or a Lamborghini, where you're going to get the V10 or you're going to get the V8 in every car that's produced. And every car that's produced is along these lines of all these cars that are produced has that standard, and you know the value is going to be there. Charger, get a Hellcat, maybe $90,000, $100,000 that you pay for the car, and somebody's going to have one that looks just like yours down the street, except it's an SXT and it's just got a few more bells and whistles on it, like a clone, like a fake car that I talked about in one of the other vlogs. So those things, you know, to me the value doesn't hold true on those cars if you're spending that much money for them. And that's one of the things I want to talk about or explain how I feel in this video. Is I remember the day, you know, you bought the car off the lot for X amount of money. Say you bought the 64 Impala and you bought it brand new for $2,500, whatever the price was when it was new. Later in the years, you know, they may have talked about going away from the Impala, but that didn't mean Chevrolet as the dealer wanted to start squeezing every bit of money out of the consumer like Dodge is doing now. That Impala increased in value because people wanted it, and it was a natural progression that happened. And you see them now, people still have a love for the car. Enthusiasts have more love for the car where they'll spend more money. Now, when you get a dealer that tries to create an environment of worth, I don't think it really works that well. Because, and I said this before in another video, this SRT that I got, the 2006, the reason I got it is because I really liked it, and it was kind of a, you know, top of the line car during that day. It wasn't significantly overpriced, overpowered, or anything like that, but it was one that I liked. So this is the one I chose to get. And just so happens this one that has Well, we get into that in another video, the options and things that it has on it, that I think it brings a little bit more value and will continue to bring more value rather than the 2023 cars or 2021 to 2023 Dodge Chargers or Challengers or anything like that. I feel that they have created a good market for the cars to be in, and the values that they had when they were first put onto the lot. Now when they're starting to mark these things up, this is where the dealer gets into wanting to squeeze the dollar out of you, and they're trying to produce a market to where the car brings more value up front rather than the nostalgic value 20 to 25 years later. I think in 20 to 25 years later, the Hellcats, even some of the scat packs that you see now rolling off the lines, even the jailbreaks, I may not be the jailbreaks, but 20 to 25 years later, those cars are gonna hold at the same value that they're at, just because you're gonna have people out there that aren't gonna pay over $100,000 for a car to begin with, and don't want to pay over $100,000 for a car that's been totally ragged out in some cases. I think if you bought a car and you've kept it mint and there's 11,000 miles on it and it's broken in and it's been garage kept, it's going to bring more value. But do you think it's going to bring $100,000 of value when it's a classic? That's the biggest question I have. You can't create that kind of environment from the dealer on the lot and justify charging $30,000 on a markup. I just don't think it's viable to do. Things have to naturally happen. I owned some Mustangs back in the day, and one of the things I wanted to do is hang on to the 88 to 91 Mustangs in there, because I felt like those brought more value than some of the later 89s to 93s. There's some specific models and opinions that I have about those just as well. But you didn't see Ford, on the back end of the Fox body Mustangs start elevating prices because they thought in 20 to 25 years they're going to be worth this, so they just jacked up the price because they want to create a market on scarcity of the product that they produce. I hadn't believed that since to the beginning of any car line, even Grand National. They didn't start marking up their cars just because there was a high demand for them. And I'm talking about overvaluing the car. I'm not talking about just the typical inflation value of a car. I read off some MSRPs in a previous video. If you want to, go back and watch that. But those same sticker prices that I had, that I told MSRP is on, still had higher prices with the different types of options that were on the car. And they still have dealer markup at some places. You will read MSRP on the window and you will see their markup price also on the window. So I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think a dealer can come in and produce a car, put it on the market, and have the right or have the means to mark up prices because they think it's going to bring a higher value when it becomes a classic? It's like you're trying to manufacture history before it even happens. I don't know. It's a little bit ridiculous, but tell me what you think. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel, and I appreciate you tuning in. And as before, I'll get with you guys in the next one.